Let's do a couple of COVID related stories. Bret Weinstein, evolutionary biologist and podcast host of the Dark Horse podcast, was recently interviewed by former Fox News propagandist Tucker Carlson. And Bret told Tucker something that sounds shocking, because it is, and it's wrong, which is that 17 million people have died from the COVID vaccine. That is quite a claim. Let's take a listen to what Bret had to say, gauge Tucker's reaction, and more generally, we will discuss it.
There was I was recently at a conference in Romania on the COVID crisis. And so there was a lot of work trying to unpack what we actually understand. And I saw a credible estimate of something like 17 million deaths globally from this technology. So
17 million deaths from the COVID vax?
Well, when you scale up to billions, it's not hard to reach a number like that with a technology that's dangerous. Now, to your deeper question, I think
And by the way, these are not our subtitles. They're a mess, but I just want to make clear these are not our subtitles.
Steelman.
So just for perspective, I mean, that's like the death toll of a global war.
Yes, absolutely. This is a great tragedy of history. So that proportion. And amazingly, there is no way in which it's over. I mean, we are still apparently recommending these things for healthy children. Never stood any chance of getting any benefit from it. Every chance of suffering harms that are not only serious, but tragic on the basis that children have long lives ahead of them.
So listen, let's start anecdotally. Okay, the claim is 17 million people have been killed by the COVID vaccine and it's continuing. Let's start anecdotally, which is not the way we do things, but sometimes it's useful to start with an anecdote just as a sniff test, and then we'll go further. Okay, first of all, does anybody in my audience know a single person who had a serious vaccine complication? Maybe there's a couple of you, okay? Sometimes that happens, extremely rare. We have an audience in the millions. Certainly it's possible that someone in the audience, not you, but knows someone who had a serious vaccine complication. Maybe there's a few of you, okay. Does anyone in my audience know of anybody personally, right, who died from the COVID vaccine? I assume the answer is zero, since almost no one has died from vaccine complications. So does anyone in my audience then know anybody who has died from COVID or COVID complications? Just about everybody I know says the answer is yes. I assume the answer is yes, both personally and certainly, obviously, we know of people through the media. My aunt died of complications from COVID. She was immunocompromised, had a number of health issues, got COVID, never recovered, passed away. An uncle of mine died from COVID pneumonia. Now let's go beyond anecdote, okay? The global death toll of COVID, about 6 million, closer to 7, depending on whether we talk recorded deaths or an excess death model, okay? Somewhere between 6 and 7 million dead of COVID and 17 million dead of the vaccine. Now, you can go and watch the presentation that Bret saw in Romania, okay? It's a Canadian scientist, Dennis Rancourt. Here's just like a few seconds of it. This is all available online. It's 26 minutes.
That is explained by the magic of mathematical models written by bought-out scientists working for bought-out politicians. So it is not true. The vaccine did not save lives.
Okay, you can go and watch this entire thing, and then you will have the information that Bret has. And then you can also find the 130-page so-called analysis of this on which that presentation is based. We're not going to link to it. We're putting up a screenshot, but we're not going to link to it since, I don't know, we could be banned or something. Who knows? And here's what this, quote, analysis did. The analysis looked at all-cause mortality in 17 countries. And the analysis claims that all-cause mortality data shows there was no benefit from a COVID vaccine. Now, all it does is it looks at population data, doesn't confirm whether anybody who died was even vaccinated, And it makes it an impossibility to draw any kind of conclusion about the relationship between vaccination and mortality. Like at the top level, it's bogus. We don't even need to go further, but we can. The analysis also ignores really good evidence that we have that when we see a spike in excess mortality in a country, it aligned with a COVID surge, not a vaccination surge. If you look and you say, okay, we know there was a COVID surge in this country at this time, and then you see excess mortality go up, that's really good data about what might be going on. On the other hand, if you look at a country like Peru, when you saw the excess deaths spike, did not coincide with when the vaccination rates went up. We know when the vaccination rates went way up in Peru, and you didn't see excess deaths. So the studies that we have show all-cause mortality is higher in the states with lower vaccination rates, and all-cause mortality was lower in states with higher vaccination rates. So it is truly dangerous. Listen, do I think Bret Weinstein really believes this? I genuinely do not know. I do not know whether Bret Weinstein believes this stuff. 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I would have said, Bret Weinstein is too smart to fall for this crap. It's just what my view would have been. And I don't know what the answer is, because unfortunately, if he doesn't believe it, then he's deliberately spreading misinformation, which, I mean, what's worse, being a liar or being misinformed? Being a deliberate liar seems worse to me. It's really sad what's happened to Bret Weinstein. And of course, opportunist Tucker Carlson loves the ability to just promote the hell out of this crap for clicks. And is he even getting clicks? I don't know.
Something that's been in the news a lot lately is data brokers collecting vast amounts of data about everything you do on your phone and computer, where you go, what you look at. They identify patterns in your behavior. And it's really quite disturbing how much data brokers know about us, even our health information. And then we found out that sometimes government agencies like the FBI will buy that information from data brokers to spy on Americans without warrants. Ad companies buy the data to serve you ads. Financial institutions can use the information. The information can even end up on public search sites where anybody can see it, but there is a way to stop it. Our sponsor, Incogni, is an affordable service that sends automatic data removal requests to data brokers who are required by law to comply. Incogni even follows up with the data brokers to ensure your data is permanently gone. And Incogni keeps you updated every step of the way. I use Incogni myself. It is remarkable what they will accomplish for you. And my audience gets 60% off. Go to incogni.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman. The link is down below.